Hey guys, today I'm going to review the i5 xdsd Gryphon. This is a portable DAC from i5 which can be used in desktop situations, and also you can use it as a portable device. A big thanks to i5 for sending in this review unit, but all the thoughts and opinions you're about to hear are my own. Now the price of the Gryphon is $599, which is $600, and yes, it is damn expensive for what it is. So what do you get inside the box? Well, when you open, you get the USB-C to USB-C cable, the USB-C to Lightning cable, the USB-C to A cable. Now, the problem with this cable is that it doesn't do charge. So the Gryphon has a feature wherein you can use a USB-C port to charge and use it as a data. But sadly, this doesn't work. So I had to use a third-party cable. So that is one con I found for this cable. You also get this suede velour pouch, which I don't really like. I mean, it does protect it, that's nice. But in my opinion, for the price of $600, i5 should have included the case, which goes separately for $30 or $39. So I think that should have been included inside the box. You get the instruction manual, which I'll refer to in a bit. You get these two paperworks and an i5 sticker over here, as you can see. So you can see on my right hand side there are three i5 products which I really love, and I use them every day, and I absolutely adore them, and I'll compare them to this. So let's talk about few of the basic features first. So I won't be listing everything down because that will take me 1 hour, and I do not want to make it a long video and bore you with it, but I'll just list some of the features, and I'll be leaving a link to the i5 xdsd Gryphon page below the like button in the description, so you can check that out if you want to see even more details. But I'll just say some of the details. So the weight of this is 215 grams. This has the flagship Burr Brown DAC chip, which is used in the $3,000 DAC, and also the DAC chip is then fed into the i5 op amps, which is done in 3 stages or 1+2 stages for the amplification. Then the power from the headphone out, which is this, is 320 milliwatts from single-ended at 32 ohms, and the 4.4 has a massive 1000 milliwatt, that is 1 watt of power, which is fantastic at 32 ohms. Now the output impedance is less than 1 ohms for the headphone section, and the Gryphon has 1900 milliamperes of battery. And the Bluetooth section of this has the QCC5100 chip, which supports Bluetooth 5.1. It supports codecs like aptX Adaptive, aptX HD, LDAC or LDAC, LHDC or the HWA codec, which is similar to LDAC but used by Chinese manufacturers like Huawei, OnePlus, Oppo, Vivo, Xiaomi, everything else. And also it supports regular aptX, aptX low latency, AAC, and SBC. Now this has a screen, as you can see over here. So I'll just talk about it more. It has the silent line technology from i5. So basically, since this is a battery product, if you switch it on, you will sometimes find some noise on your sound. So with the silent line technology, i5 has diminished that. And also the XBass feature, the XBass and the XBass feature is a hardware feature. So it's not a software unlike other DACs. So you can use it even in the line out and also in the headphone out. So yeah, that's some of the few highlight features which I wanted to touch upon. Now I'll just go on the physicals a bit so that you get an idea. Well, the entire build is metallic and it's fantastic. It feels like $600. It feels even more expensive, to be honest. And it has this dual tone finish, which I really like. And on the back side, you get this feet so that you can keep it in your desktop setup. So let's talk about it a bit. So here you get the 3.5, you get the 4.4 over here, then you get the 2 kilohertz and the input light. Then this is the volume button, which is notched similar to the i5 Go Blu, and you can long press it to on it, and you can press it once to play it or pause it whenever you're connected via Bluetooth or USB-C. This is the settings button. This is to change the mode. Now on the back side, you get this slider, which is the bass plus presence, the presence and bass. This is basically a toggle to change the sound of the X bass. So you can have the X bass wherein it improves the bass. You can have the X bass wherein it improves the presence region or the upper mids and bit of a treble, or you can have the X bass with bass and presence. So that's a really nice option you have with the X bass. You can modify it or tune it according to your need. This is the battery wherein you put for it to charge the Gryphon, and this is to connect it to the USB-C port. This is data only, but you can change it to charging too when you connect it to the PC from the setting of the Gryphon. This is the SPDIF and this is the line out. So you can use the Gryphon as a dedicated amplifier if you so wish. Now let's talk about the settings a bit. So basically you on this, you long press it and it ons, as you can see. Now when it ons, let me show you one thing, just a minute. So there is a small Easter egg which you can see. Let me show you. So when you on this, so as you can see, the Gryphon goes from left to right, then it ons, and then when you off it, the Gryphon goes from right to left. So this is actually a nice Easter egg which is not included from outside the box. So you should be in the latest firmware for this. And also there is a small secret code for it, if I'm not wrong. I forgot how I switched it on. I'll list it in the comment below so that you can see it. From what I remember, I have to press this twice, this once, and this one once, so that you get that Gryphon flying option. And also there is a minimum phase filter, which was actually disabled in the latest firmware update, but that also gets enabled with this small Easter egg kind of thing which I said. So let's on it. Looks really cool, by the way. So yeah, as you can see, it looks really cool. Now this is on. It's searching for the Bluetooth, and as you can see, there is a light, right? So when you increase the volume, let me show you properly. When you increase the volume, keep your eye on the left. As you can see, the light will decrease. So now it's blue, then it's magenta, and it's blue. So yeah, so basically depending on the volume level, the light changes, as you can see. So red is 100 to 92%, yellow is 91 to 74%, green is 73 to 56%, magenta is 55 to 38%, blue is 37 to 0, and when it flashes, it's basically mute. So it is given in this sheet which I showed you, because there are a lot of settings to go through and there is a slight bit of a learning curve over here. So when you press this, now this is the setting button. Now you can press it over here. When you press it once, it goes to X bass. When you press it once more time, it goes to X bass. Now when you press it once more, you get two settings together. That is X bass 2 and X bass together. If you press it once more, it gets disabled. Now you have to long press it to get into the setting, and you can use the volume slider to go down or go up. So this is first is a digital filter. Then you press it once to go over here. This is bit perfect. This is what I tested my i5 Gryphon in. So this is standard, bit perfect, GTO, and minimum phase. This is what gets switched to when you do that small settings which I said over here. Then this is the screen brightness. You can set it either to off, low, or high. When you set it to off, it basically offs after a few seconds. Volume limiter, self-explanatory. It limits the volume. Volume sync. Basically, you can sync the volume between this and your source device. I have offed it. The volume soft ramp. I quite didn't get as to what this feature is because I tried searching online. I tried it myself. I didn't see anything, but I have kept it off. The BT voice prompt, basically connected and all those things. The USB dual port charge. So as I said, this port is only data only when you take it out of the box, but you can use it for charging if you connect to your PC. You have to then keep this feature on, which is USB dual port charge. Screen rotation. This is off. This is on, off, on. Then factory reset. That's it. So you can exit the setting by long pressing this. Now you can select, as you see this button, right? Now when you select this button, so you can select between SPDIF, line out, USB, Bluetooth. So as of now, I'll just stay in Bluetooth. So yeah, that's the overall this thing of the physical explanation of the Gryphon. And this button I have already told you about. Basically, you can have it in bass or presence or bass and presence. This only works for X bass. So yeah, that's the overview of the i5 XDSD Gryphon. Now, this was a bit of a long overview. I'm sorry for that, but there is a lot of things to learn about, and there is a bit of a curve for it. Now, one thing I want to say is that whenever you're using the X bass and X bass option, let's say you're using your Gryphon for let's say about 15-20 minutes, and then let's say you want to on X bass, there is a certain pop which comes. It comes out like this. Yeah, there is a certain pop, and if you're at higher volumes, that could be a bit of an issue. I don't see it happening with something like the Hup DAC 3 or the i5 Go Blu or the Kensei. This is the first time I'm seeing it happening, and it happened only in Gryphon. So yeah, that's a small con I found for the Gryphon. Other than that, what else can I say? I think so it has been fantastic. Also, yeah, on the bottom you get the popular eye match button, which is similar to the Hup DAC. This is for 3.5 and 4.4. Now, let's talk about power. Well, the power for this is fantastic. It can drive anything without any issues. And especially the 4.4 at 1 milliwatt, it's absolutely fantastic as to how good it sounds. So for me, the Tansim Kara, no issues. I can throw at it. I didn't have any powerful headphone or that powerful IM to test this out, but I think so this 1000 milliwatts is fantastic and how it works. It can drive anything and it works really well too. And when I reviewed my Hup DAC, right, my only complaint was just make this Bluetooth and it will be fantastic. That is exactly what the Gryphon is. I think so they have made it into Bluetooth and it sounds fantastic. Now let's talk about the sound a bit, then I'll talk about the comparison. So how does the Gryphon sound? Well, it sounds very neutral. It's quite a bit of a shift from these three, which is the Hup DAC, Go Blu, and kensei. It sounds very neutral, but it still maintains that i5 house sound with a bit of a naturalness. So let's say I'm taking the Super Mix 4. It's a bit of a brightish IM, a bit of a brightish IM, especially on the treble area when you're listening at higher volumes. So it does bring out the character of the Super Mix 4, but there is a certain naturalness that comes with the sound, and it's very hard to explain. For example, the best way to test this is listening to Chris Cornell's vocal or Bill Withers' vocal. They come across very natural. That naturalness of their voice, the thickness of their voice, comes across really well on this. So yeah, the sound of this is done fantastically well. It's neutral yet very natural. Now, comparing it to the i5 family of other i5 dongle DACs, which is the Hup DAC 3, there's the Go Blu and the Kensei. So how does it compare? Well, first question. This is $200. Let me keep it accordingly. Price range, yeah. So this is $200. This is $200. This is $480, and this is $600. Now, is the Gryphon worth thrice as the Hup DAC 3 and the Go Blu? In my opinion, not. When it comes in terms of sound. So if you just want something really good sounding, then just get the Go Blu or the Hup DAC 3. But does it sound better than these two? Yes, it does sound better than these two. But is it worth thrice the price? No. Then why are you paying $600? Well, it's because of the features. As I said, you can have line out, you can have this line out, you can have SPDIF, you can have your headphone, that 1000 milliwatts of power. And also one more thing, the X-Bass feature, which I said, right? The X-Bass feature and X-Bass feature, it can also be used via the line out feature. Why? Because it's a hardware feature and not a software feature, as I told you. So yeah, so if you want all those features and you want to use it in a desktop mode, and then you get the Gryphon, because I think so, as I said, and you also want the Bluetooth, then I think so this makes a fantastic value for money. Now, is it better than the Kensei in terms of sound? A tad bit better, but in my opinion, if you are using IM, I don't think so you hear that on the Gryphon that well, because I think so they're quite similar. Only thing is that only in certain IMs, like for example, something like the Super Mix 4, I think so the Gryphon sounded a bit better. But also the sound signature of these two are quite different. This is quite warm sounding. This is very natural. This is very neutral sounding with a bit of a natural flair to it. or a hi-fi sound flared to it. So I've been talking a lot, and yeah, one more small con, which I think so probably is the main con for me. Sorry, two main cons for me, probably not one, is since this is a battery powered device, I would have really loved if there was any way to change the battery. That is one con. So over the time, this battery might go, and I don't know how you can replace it. So there are screws over here. I'm hoping you can open it and replace it. So there are screws over here. I'm hoping you can do that. And also the second con is that, as I said, this USB-C port, this can be used for power, right? So when you plug it in your computer, you can use it for power. So it has one good feature is wherein that even when you connect this to your computer, your Gryphon will charge and it will power the Gryphon, like it will power your IM or headphone through the internal battery. Now it's a good thing if you do not want any noise or anything like that. But let's say your computer is well grounded, your source is well grounded, you do not need that. You just want directly to power from your computer. Then I think Sci-Fi should add an option so that the longevity of the battery increases. So these are the only two cons I can think of the Gryphon, aside from the price. I know the price is an issue, but it is something which you have to look forward to. Like, do you need that? I think if you have a lot of headphones which need that power, which and you have IMs which need that power, and you want a one-all setup, right? Which you can use it as a desktop, which you can take it outside, then I think so this is really good. So I've been using this wirelessly in my pocket, believe it or not, and it worked really well. I have had no signal issues, especially in aptics, neither in LDAC. In LDAC, I can easily go around, let's say, 5 to 8 meters in between walls without any issues. So yeah, that's my honest review of the Gryphon. I know it's very expensive at $600. So the usual question will arise: is it better than the Go Blu or the Hup DAC 3 or the Kensei? So that's why I did a comparison of it. I have tried to tell you everything about the Gryphon. I have obviously left out the specs because it would be quite boring. The video already has gotten too long. But if you have any comments, please do comment below. I really like this, and I'll obviously try to help you out if you have any questions about this. And like and subscribe really helps me out a lot. 94% of the people watching this video are unsubscribed, so I would really appreciate if you could subscribe. It helps me keep making these videos, and it used to be updated on all the latest review of the audio world. So yeah, I hope you have a great day ahead. Bye.